Anki, friends, first of all, I'm absolutely delighted to be here on this occasion. It's both very energizing because just as I was entering outside, I was seeing the kind of buzz that's already there. And it's both energizing and exciting to be here. So I think Anki was absolutely right when she said, you know, we need to celebrate the fact that we're all gathered here today. Because it's not often that women actually get an opportunity to get together with each other. We normally do that in professional environments where there are few women, typically. Or we get together in social occasions. But as a community, with a common set of aspirations, with a lot of commonalities in the areas of work that we do, I think this is one of those few interactions. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate Anki and Facebook for coming up with this format. The first thing that I wanted to mention here was that She Means Business is one of those really powerful initiatives. From the statistics that I could gather on the internet and from what I gather from what Anki shared with me, She Means Business was launched last year, and in the course on International Women's Day last year. And over the last 1 year, it's actually gathered enormous traction. It's been launched in over 16 countries. It's also already trained more than 8,000 entrepreneurs. It's very interesting to note that of the 8,000 entrepreneurs, 4,500 women entrepreneurs was in India, which is actually more than half the total number trained. So that just shows us what is the kind of potential that we have in India. And it also shows that the number of women-owned pages on Facebook increased by more than 60% thanks to this initiative. Now, why is this so important? I think this is so important because while women have had tremendous potential always, we have often lacked the platforms which can allow us to harness that potential. For the first time, we have on this platform, She Means Business, an opportunity whereby lot of young women, lot of young entrepreneurs, no matter where they are, whether they're in small towns in rural India, so long as they have access to the net, whether they're in suburban areas, whether they have access to resources in terms of financial resources or not. This is one way in which they can actually explore their own entrepreneurial talent and network with a community to pursue their own aspirations. In India, we often speak about the fact that all of India is changing so rapidly, and we can see the kind of change that's happening around us. And we also celebrate the fact that the young people in India are at the forefront of this change. They are big change agents. But probably a more deeper set of change agents are often not mentioned, not acknowledged, not celebrated enough. And that's the women who are emerging as change agents. You will see that this, in fact, is somewhat more acknowledged in rural India. In rural India, if you see the kind of women that are emerging into positions of political leadership, it may be even at the panchayat level, but it's still important enough. Or if you look at some of the kinds of leadership roles that they are taking in big community movements that are changing, for example, self-help movements like the Kudumbashree movement, which I am quite familiar in Kerala, but there are lots of other movements across India. Surprisingly and counterintuitively, urban India has not celebrated women power adequately. It's therefore time for us to support these kinds of platforms that are emerging, which are networking women together. It's time for us to acknowledge the kind of change agents that women are in India today. And I think what Anki mentioned here, that 4 out of every 5 women in India is no longer content to just lead a conventional life, but actually wants to be economically independent, wants to be economically empowered, wants to be creative, wants to be an entrepreneur. I think all these are very, very important signals of the kind of powerful change that is happening in India. And, I'm delighted that the kind of movement that Facebook has already been able to trigger with the She Means Business platform, I hope that this will grow in strength in the months to come, in the years to come, that this will open up a lot of opportunities. My own favorite story is that in Kerala, about 2 years back, when we organized a big youth entrepreneur summit, it was called Yes, We Can. And at that time, it was amazing to see that of the 16 women entrepreneurs that we celebrated, 4 of them had actually built their businesses around WhatsApp. And there was this extraordinary woman. She had actually started out, she had lost her husband, and she started out her business making small paper bags out of waste paper. And she was explaining how she was able to grow the business. All that she wanted her partners who were working with her, she said as long as they had a smartphone and as long as they could read her instructions over WhatsApp and see pictures, she could create the business. It's today a very successful business. Similarly, another young lady who was working in a company, American company in the US, came back. She started a small tourism outfit. And again, she said almost her entire clientele, she kept in touch with them through Facebook and through WhatsApp, and that's how she grew her business. So I think we all keep talking about and keep hearing about how technology is empowering Indians all over. But I think the one group which can really benefit the most from technology platforms is women. And I'm saying this because traditionally women don't have access to other forms of support. If you want support, I will probably have to reach out. And the easiest way of reaching out today is through tech platforms. So whether it is access to best practices, whether it's access to mentoring, whether it's access to crowdfunding, I think the great, the potential of technology and women coming together is that it allows women to collaborate and to create no matter where they might be or no matter what their traditional, conventional constraints might be. In the Ministry of IT, I want to extend to you a message that We have not done enough in the area of technology. Anki did mention that we don't have too many women entrepreneurs, we don't have women leading enterprises. We are starting a separate program where we hope that we will be able to open up far more spaces for women in technology, where we will be able to open up avenues where young, talented, creative people like all of you here, where you will be able to find support groups and where you will be able to access the kind of resources that you need. We are in the final stages of crafting that program, and we'd be delighted to share it with you. We'd be delighted to take feedback from you before we formally launch it. So let me just end once again by saying that this is a great initiative, and it has huge potential, not just for people here, but for groups of women all over India, no matter what economic strata they belong to. And I do hope that as many of you go on to become successful entrepreneurs, you will continue to be part of this network and continue to offer inspiration, be role models, and act as mentors for other young women, because we do know that in India, women power is beginning to make a difference, but we need to do much more. There's lots to do. There are lots of people out there to empower, and you will begin to make that difference. So with these few words, let me thank all of you, and let me wish all of you in advance a very, very happy Women's Day, because it's your day, it's my day, it's our day. Thank you.